In June 1940, Hitler had Europe. France had fallen. Britain stood alone. And historians agree on something chilling. One single decision made in the final days of May could have changed the outcome of the entire war. What if that decision had gone the other way? What if Germany had won? To understand how close it came, we have to go back to the beaches of Dunkirk. By late May 1940, the British Expeditionary Force, over 300,000 men, was trapped. German Panzer divisions were just miles away, with a clear path to finish them off. Then, on May 24th, the order came down from Hitler himself. Stop. The tanks halted for nearly 3 days. No one fully agrees why some say Göring wanted the Luftwaffe to claim the kill. Others believe Hitler still hoped Britain would negotiate peace. Whatever the reason, that pause gave the Allies just enough time. Operation Dynamo began, and over the next 9 days, 338,000 soldiers were pulled off the beaches. Now imagine the order never came. Imagine the tanks kept rolling. Without that army, Britain's entire defense collapses. The core of its trained military gone. Churchill, only weeks into office, faces a cabinet in panic. In our timeline, Britain fought on. But in this one, the political pressure to negotiate becomes overwhelming. Some historians argue figures within the British establishment were already prepared to seek terms if the military situation became hopeless enough. With no army to defend the home islands, Operation Sea Lion Germany's planned invasion of Britain stops being a fantasy and becomes a real option. German barges cross the Channel. The Royal Navy fights, but without air superiority and without an army to repel a landing. Southern England becomes a battleground. By the end of 1940, in this alternate timeline, Britain sues for peace. The last major democracy in Western Europe falls silent. Here's where the alternate timeline gets even stranger. In our history, Germany fought a brutal two-front war Britain in the West, the Soviet Union in the East. That two-front war is widely seen by historians as one of the fatal flaws of Nazi strategy. But if Britain is out of the picture by late 1940, Germany doesn't need to keep large forces tied up watching the Atlantic coast. Resources that were spent on the Battle of Britain, on coastal defenses, on the eventual D-Day buildup, all of that could be redirected east. Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union, could launch earlier. Better supplied, and without Germany glancing over its shoulder at an unconquered Britain. The Eastern Front was already the largest and bloodiest theater of the war. Now picture it without any Western Front to drain German manpower at all. By 1942, in this scenario, the map of the world looks unrecognizable. Continental Europe, from the Atlantic coast to deep into Soviet territory, falls under German control or influence. Britain occupied, or a client state. The The United States, watching all of this unfold, faces an isolated, hostile Atlantic. Without a European ally to supply or stage from, America's entire strategic picture changes. Some historians believe the US might have shifted almost entirely toward the Pacific theater against Japan, with no Western front to eventually join. Africa's colonial holdings, Middle Eastern oil fields, shipping lanes, all become contested in entirely new ways. This isn't just Germany wins a war. It's a complete reordering of 20th century geopolitics. Decades earlier than any of the divisions we actually got with the Cold War. Here's the part almost every serious historian agrees on. Even in this scenario, the Third Reich's collapse may have only been delayed, not avoided. The regime's economy was built on plunder, not sustainable production. Forced labor and looted resources from occupied territories were already straining under the weight of administering a continent. The ideological core of the regime built on racial hierarchy and endless expansion meant occupied populations were managed through brutality, not integration, which breeds resistance, sabotage, and partisan warfare on a massive scale. Internally, Nazi leadership was a tangle of competing power bases, the SS, the Wehrmacht, the party often working against each other. A regime that size, run that way, historians argue, was structurally unstable. Even controlling all of Europe, the question becomes, for how long? And this is the paradox at the heart of the what if. The very things that made Nazi Germany capable of conquering Europe so quickly. Total mobilization, ruthless efficiency, ideological fanaticism were the same things that made it incapable of holding what it conquered. Victory in 1940 or 1941 might not have meant victory in 1950. It might have meant a longer war, a different war, fought against a wider resistance, with no clear endpoint. The 3 days at Dunkirk didn't just save an army. They may have preserved the only timeline where the war actually ended. So when historians say one decision could have handed Hitler the world, they're right. But what they're really telling us is that even that world might not have lasted. If you want to go deeper into the real history behind Dunkirk, Sea Lion, and the Eastern Front, the next video breaks down exactly how close it really got. Subscribe for more.